Ah, that first speech, the one where you just have to introduce yourself. Sounds so simple, doesn't it? But for so many of us, it's one of the most nerve-wracking moments in public speaking. So today, we're going to break down how to transform that anxiety, that fear, into a genuine moment of connection. And yeah, get you your very first round of applause.
Okay, so let's just get right into it. What is so scary about introducing yourself? I mean, it's a fair question, right? On paper, you're just talking about the one subject you know better than anyone else, you. So why does it feel like you're about to jump off a cliff? Well, that fear is real, and it comes from a place that's a lot deeper than just saying, hello.
The real challenge with the icebreaker speech is all about the gap between what we think it is and what it actually feels like. It's a really simple task, but it's wrapped up in a whole lot of personal pressure.
And this right here just nails that core conflict. We walk in expecting to give a simple hello, but the reality is we're being asked for a moment of pretty deep self-reflection. The source material puts it perfectly. It's an opportunity to look back on where life has brought you, and that's a much bigger deal.
So here's the most important takeaway. The fear doesn't really come from the audience or the assignment. Nope. It comes from inside us. It's born from the crazy high expectations we put on ourselves to be brilliant and funny and perfect right out of the gate.
And that pressure? It leads to a classic mistake. We watch other people's speeches to see how it's supposed to be done, but this can totally backfire. It creates this mental bias, this voice in your head telling you there's a right way to do it. Then you've got peer pressure. And maybe worst of all, it stifles your own unique style and just feeds that nagging fear of being judged. Okay, so if copying other people is a trap, what's the solution? Well, it really all comes down to a mindset shift. It's about understanding that this speech is about authenticity, not performance. It's your story, and you get to tell it your way. The advice here is super direct. Just don't watch others. Seriously, this is your chance to discover your own voice, not just echo someone else's. Think of this as rule number one for getting this right. Let's just completely reframe what this speech is. It is not a test. It is not a performance. Our source defines it as an opportunity. It's a chance to reflect, to make sense of your own journey, and to let your true character shine through. So forget about being flawless. That is not the goal. The real objective here is originality. This first speech is the bedrock. It's where you lay the foundation for the kind of speaker you want to become.
Okay, so you're ready to be authentic. You're ready to lay that foundation. But what do you build it out of? Well, now comes the fun part. Finding the raw material, finding your core story.
This is the question that stops so many of us dead in our tracks. I mean, you have an entire lifetime of experiences. How in the world do you pick the right one? Where do you even start looking?
I absolutely love this metaphor from the author Haruki Murakami. It's really the perfect answer. You don't have to invent a thing. You already have all the material you could ever need, packed away in this giant mental chest of drawers.
Now, if that chest of drawers idea feels a little overwhelming, I get it. So here's a key to unlock one of the most powerful drawers inside. This prompt from mentor Lindy McLean is fantastic. Focus on a turning point, a moment, big or small, after which things were never quite the same.
And as you're looking through those drawers, this is so important. Don't dismiss your own stories. Try not to be judgmental about your memories. If you've held on to a memory, there's a reason. You have to trust that the story is important, even if it feels small or a little raw.
All right, you found a memory. You've got an idea. So now what? How do you shape that raw material into a speech that actually connects with the people listening? Let's get into some practical tools. It really boils down to this simple three-step process. First, pick one story and go deep. Don't try to cram your whole life story in. Second, write like you talk. Use short conversational sentences. And third, find the universal human element in your personal experience. This first point is so critical, it's worth saying again. As distinguished Toastmaster Abhijit Joshi advises, depth is so much more powerful than breadth. The rich details of a single, well-told story are what will really stick with your audience.
And this just shows how a small, simple story can carry a huge amount of meaning. For instance, one speaker told a story about making tea for their family during the pandemic. The story wasn't really about the tea, it was about mutual care and connection during a really stressful time.
And if you're wondering what makes a story universal, here's a little cheat sheet from world champion speaker Ryan Avery. Does your story touch on any of these? Fear, family, failure, strong emotions, a moment of vulnerability. These are the things that resonate with pretty much everyone.
And for those of you who want to add another layer, check this technique out. The source highlighted a speaker who used a little story from her childhood as a metaphor for her entire character. It's a really beautiful, creative way to share who you are. So, you've got the mindset, you've got a story, you've got the tools. There's really only one thing left to do, and honestly, it's the most important part of this whole process, taking the leap.
As you get ready to step up there, just remember this. The magic isn't in reciting the details perfectly. The source tells us the magic comes from your passion. It's about letting the audience feel why this story matters so much to you. That's what they'll connect with.
And that brings us to the final piece of advice, which is really less advice and more of a powerful, encouraging push. Just do it. Get up there and deliver your speech. Trust me, the experience itself is absolutely transformative.
So we'll end with this question for you. That icebreaker isn't some obstacle you have to get over. It's an opportunity to discover something about yourself and share it. It's a story that's just waiting to be told. So the only question left is, what's yours?